Hi everyone, I'm Mayor Farrah N, and today on Chat with the Mayor, I'll be speaking with Sergeant Gales on e-bike and e-bike safety. Well, thank you so much, Sergeant Gales, for joining me today. We're going to talk about e-bikes because, as you know, e-bikes are a great way for people to get around town, but also there's a growing concern from our community on the way that they're being ridden throughout our streets. And so one of the things I wanted to start off with is creating a distinction between what is a classified or unclassified e-bike.
So I'm very excited to talk to you about this morning. Like you said, it is a hot topic in our community. There's three different classifications for e-bikes: Class 1, 2, and 3. Class 1 and 2, anyone can ride them. If you're 16 years old or younger, 17 years old or younger, you need to wear a helmet. Those Class 1 and 2 can go up to 20 miles per hour. Class 1 would be pedal assisted, Class 2 would be throttle assisted. Class 3, you need to be 16 years old or older. They go up to 28 miles per hour. There's a little bit more restrictions on those. But then there's an unclassified, which is over 28 miles per hour. And those are the ones that have been causing us a little bit of a headache around here. And we're trying to address those issues pretty consistently.
Yeah, and I think that's where the concern comes in. But there's a way to visually see the difference between a classified and unclassified bike, is that right?
There is. So they're actually required to come stamped by the manufacturer with the class of electric bike that it is on the frame. So that's not always the case, but that is the requirement. And so we hold people to that class that their bike is stamped.
And then what's the difference between e-bikes that have the pedals and ones that don't have the pedal?
So in order for it to be a bike, it has to have working pedals. And what you see sometimes is something that looks like a bike, but it doesn't have pedals, it has pegs. So if it doesn't have any pedals, just by definition, it would not be a bike or an e-bike. And so what I'm talking about are maybe like the Surons or the Segways. We see a lot of those in our community, and they shouldn't be on the street, they shouldn't be on the sidewalk. They're illegal to be riding around. They go too fast and they don't have the same regulations to keep their speed down. So that is a concern for us. Right. When we see those, we do address it. We issue citations, and we're truly working on an educational level with the Irvine Unified School District and our school resource officers to make sure that students and parents know that those are illegal.
Perfect. And then sometimes we see kids that are riding bikes and then they'll pair up on a bike. Is that legal or illegal?
And the answer is it just depends.
Okay.
So it can be legal if there's another seat that's designed to have a passenger on it, or if it's been modified to have a passenger on it with a specified seat.
Okay. But if there's no extra seat there, then no double passenger allowed?
That is correct.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. And now when it comes to riding bikes or e-bikes through shopping centers or schools, what is the requirement? Are you supposed to be able to ride through, or do you have to walk your bike?
So you can ride through, but what we want to remind people is that you have to be responsible. So you have to go at a safe speed, because a lot of the complaints that we receive in the Traffic Bureau are of people on e-bikes or even regular bikes. They're just going too fast. So they'll be on a bike path or on a sidewalk or going through a shopping center or school, right, and they're just traveling too fast. So please be mindful of pedestrians. Be courteous, so as you approach the pedestrians, so that you don't startle them, just let them know you're coming, say on your left or on your right, or if you have a little bell, you can use that as well.
Absolutely, thank you. And then, you know, when we're looking at bikes, e-bikes, you've got automobiles and pedestrians. We've got them on bike lanes, on sidewalks, on trails. Can you share with us some of the safety measures that people can take to make sure that everyone stays safe as they're walking and biking through town?
Absolutely. We have so many bike trails and bike paths and roads in the city of Irvine. In fact, just on the highway, we have almost 300 miles of roads that we want bicyclists to enjoy. And off-road, we have over 113 miles. So we want everybody to be able to interact well. And in order to do that, the bicyclists need to go safely, like we just talked about. If they're coming up, please make sure that you're staying on the right side of a bike path and letting pedestrians know that you're coming up. Pedestrians need to be aware that these are shared walkways. So we want everybody to interact well together That doesn't always happen,
Right.
but that's why we do videos like this where we can encourage the members of our community to interact in a positive way.
Absolutely. So would you say that communication is key here?
Absolutely.
Like, if you're walking, you're biking, make sure you're communicating with those around you to let them know that you're coming up, to let them know which side you're on, so people are aware.
The communication is key, and please just slow down as you're going to be passing people, either in the same direction or the opposite direction. Slowing your speed is important.
And then is there anything else that you'd like to share that would be helpful for our community, especially when it comes to e-bikes and especially our kids that are on these e-bikes?
We have several programs in place. Public safety is working with our community members. They're working with our partners at the Irvine Unified School District. So we have a bicycle and pedestrian safety class. So when you see some of our motor officers or regular officers, they're issuing citations to students or kids on bikes. Sometimes those citations are administrative only. And what that is they'll have to show up to a class on a Saturday morning that lasts about an hour and a half or 2 hours with the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to sit through the class. At the end of the class, they're gonna have a much better idea of what rules they need to follow, how they can bike safely. And then as long as they do that, the ticket goes away and there's not any fine associated.
That's perfect. Yeah, and you know what? I've actually sat in on one of those classes just to see what goes on, and it's really informative. So, I would say people take advantage of those classes. And are they able to take advantage of the classes even prior to maybe getting a citation?
Yes, absolutely. So if members want to come and attend the class, maybe they haven't gotten a ticket or done
Right.
anything wrong, just for the educational component, they're welcome to do that. We've started having classes that are not punitive per se, where they're allowed to come. There's also a program that we're exploring for a parking permit for e-bikes. So we're working with our partners at IUSD, so that in order to obtain that parking permit, they're going to have to go through a class that we will host, or there will be an online class where we teach them about riding an e-bike responsibly, and that parking permit could be revoked if they're irresponsible. So again, these are things that we're exploring. We hope for
Right.
success in the future.
Thank you so much. And I know that I produced a memo not too long ago, and I know you guys are working on possibly an ordinance, again, looking at the educational component, and then of course the enforcement of it. We really want to make sure that people are enjoying the outdoors, they're enjoying different ways of being mobile, but at the same time, safety is a priority.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Sergeant Gales, and thank you so much for sharing all the information that you've shared today.
My pleasure.